And those are some of my favorite memories of the show and the hijinks.
Were there other kids?
Yeah, there were 7 of us. There was Richard Thomas, and then there are 3 boys and 3 girls underneath Richard. And Erin is the middle girl between Mary Ellen and Elizabeth. So when somebody asked me to do this recently, it was a challenge. It's John Boy, Jason, Mary Ellen, me, Ben, and Jim Bob and Elizabeth. I know, I should get an award for that, I think. Remembering.
Why and under what circumstances did George Clooney throw you into a fountain on your 21st birthday?
Wow, you really did read all of this. You got all the good stuff in there. I know. And who would have known it then, right? I am a lucky girl. And in more ways than one, George Clooney gave me one of the most wonderful quotes in supporting the book, and because he liked it. So I feel very, very blessed about that. I met George Clooney before he came to LA to be an actor. And we were 20, and we are both going to be 50 in a couple of weeks, and our birthdays are 2 days apart. So we turned 21 together in Lexington, Kentucky. I was there to work on a movie, and his uncle, Jose Ferrer, was there working on a movie. So he was hanging around the set trying to get a gig, could I get a small part somewhere? And we all hung out, and he dared me, because he does a lot of practical jokes too. And I said, I dare you to jump in the fountain at the Lexington Marriott Resort Hotel, right, which is where we were staying. And he said, I dare you to jump in the fountain. I said, really? If you dare someone and they do it, you have to do it too, right? And he said, yeah. So I got up and I ran through the hotel lobby, and as he says, I did a swan dive into a foot of water. I don't know, but he's a good storyteller. So he said I did this swan dive into the water, and he had to follow me.
Yeah.
And then he wanted to come to LA to try this acting thing. So I just remember being on the phone with him saying, oh, George, you should probably come out and try it. Maybe it will work for you. I know. Yeah.
I just noticed the last time you were here, you were with Patricia Neal.
Mm-hmm.
And you were doing a film with her. Could you share what your impressions of her, working with her, were like for that film, and also maybe your impressions of the industry and the industry's attitude towards female actresses who are in their 20s?
Oh, that's a good question. Patricia Neal was my first mom on television because she played my mom in The Homecoming. And yes, I was here with her the last time, which is kind of sad. I miss her. She is so wonderful and such a huge part of my heart. I have such fond memories about her in filming The Homecoming. And then years later, I became a filmmaker, and I went to do my short film For the Love of May, and I said to her, would you even ever think of working for me for free? And so she said, get me the script. And I thought, oh, wow, Patricia Neal wants to read my script. This is scary, And so I gave her the script, and she was gracious and lovely, and she said, well, if you get everything together and you get the money together to do this, I'll do it. And I was so amazed that it actually prompted me to go and do some fundraising to get the money just to be able to work with her. And so she did For the Love of May with me, and playing her daughter was Michael Learned, my other mother from the Waltons, as well as Rue Paul, Alexandra Paul, and it was really exciting that and then Alison Arngrim, of course, who gave me another quote from my book. So yeah, she was so wonderful. And it was funny because I find myself saying something that she used to say to me all the time now. People keep asking me questions, and I keep saying, read the book. And I'd always ask her, hey, tell me about Gary Cooper. Patricia, what was Gary like? And she'd go, Gary, read the book. And I miss her. She was wonderful. I would keep seeing her whenever I went to New York. And then she won awards and the film won awards. So we did film festivals together. And it is amazing because she was always so clear and there. And the expression in her eyes. I almost felt like I couldn't direct her because here she is, the Academy Award winner. Who was I to tell her what to do? And later on she said, you should have bossed me around a little bit more. And she was a delight, and I miss her all the time. And as far as your question about being in the industry, yeah, when you're not 20, it's different. And I had a hard time when I was 20, but now that I'm older, it's a very, very different industry. And certainly they always talk about those roles drying up. For me, I've had a lot of fun because now, I play the matronly mom on shows. So, and I would joke that I get to be sort of this character actress now. On The New Adventures of Old Christine, they had the skinny, meanie moms, and then Julia's this big, you can fit two of her inside of me. And so I was like, oh, I'm the matronly mom. This is great. So for me, the stuff that I have done recently have been a lot more fun. I got to play a waitress named Madge in Christmas at Cadillac Jack's, she has to have a really bad hairdo and bad, like Barbie doll blue eyeshadow. So I have so much more fun being older acting because it's more of a challenge. I get to create characters, but it's definitely more difficult. It's a lot more difficult. The industry is very different than when I grew up in it. Anybody else? Yes.
You seem to be referring a lot to your television family. Did that create any problems at home, your real home with your real family? Any contradictions of what you learned one place and what you learned?
Oh yeah, it's a great question. Yes, my real family, I was sort of, lifted out of and dropped into this Hollywood family, and I was raised in a Roman Catholic Irish family. So as I was mentioning in here during the dinner table, I would hear these off-color jokes, or I would hear people talking about things that I wasn't allowed to talk about at home. And it was a wild ride for me. And it was very hard for me at times, to balance the two. And I ended up spending more time with my Walton family than I did my own family. And it took me years to kind of catch up with my own family and to get to know them after the show was over. So yeah, it was a little bit different for me. Yeah. Yeah? Yes.
So
Then we'll go back to you.
They didn't encourage you to be a child actress. That just happened independently of your family?
My parents were from little tiny towns in Nebraska and in Colorado. So they came out to California to find their dream, and they found each other. And my mom always wanted to dance, and she didn't have any money growing up. So she gave us all the dance lessons that she ever wanted. I actually didn't want to be an actress. I wanted to be on a Kool-Aid commercial doing cartwheels and dancing. I never thought about the acting part of it, but oh well, I had red hair and got sent out on this audition, my very first audition, and got the part because I had red hair freckles. So yeah, they never really pushed it, and my mom kind of put me off for a while about it. And so yeah, it was really, my dad always said it was like buying your first ticket to the Irish sweepstakes and winning. It's kind of true. Sort of meant to be. And yeah, over here.
Yeah, I know this story is about you, but I wanted to relate to you something about our family.
Yeah, do.
My wife I met when I was overseas working in one of the Russian republics, and we came back to the States, and in Russia they don't have traditional church, so my wife didn't even know about what church was like or what life was like in America in terms of family values. We have a daughter who's 7, and so one of the ways that I try to teach her about life in America and family values and about how church can impact the family is by watching DVDs of the Waltons.
Oh,
So,
that touches my heart. Thank you.
So we're now in season 2.
Oh, you've got a lot. I'm so much older now than I was then. Wait, then I think I'm her or her.
Yeah. So,
I'm back there.
we absolutely adore it, and it was so meaningful for us for me to go back, and because I watched it as a kid, to relive